Here we go. Going live. We are live.
Mute it, so I'm not going to mess anything up. Splendid.
Oh,
You still need to get beer because I'm sitting here. There's like this much beer left in the glass, but the last like inch and a half of it was drunk by the dogs. So I keep looking and going, oh, I need to finish the. No, don't drink the beer because it's like 3 parts beer, 2 parts dog slobber.
Delicious.
Oh, yeah. So if you don't mind, I will take my leave for approximately 60 seconds. And I'm going to go refill my beer, get water, and
Like it. Well, welcome everybody to episode 73, the Security Shit Show. Starting off in a traditional way. Evan is somewhere in Mexico attempting to connect to better internet. Chris is off fetching a beer. And I am here slowly dying of the booster shot. So it'll be a good show tonight. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Actually, I'll wait for the guys to get here to tell you about what we were doing. Try to make this a better experience for all y'all. More swag, I can tell you that. We're gonna finally get our shit together with the swag. Hey, Matt, good to see you. John, Alex, Josh. Play you guys some music. Could sing. No, I'm kidding. I don't sing. The silence is deafening. So we tried to start on time. Clearly that didn't work out. We'll do a better job next week. Speaking of next week, that's Christmas. You guys doing anything fun for the holidays? Those of you here in the chat, you gonna stay in? Avoid the relatives? Are you gonna maybe take a trip, go visit? Yeah, we are. We were right on time. I've been counting. Chris has definitely been gone for more than 60 seconds. Put on some background music, maybe. See if we can get the video flagged. I like it. So we got some people staying in. We got some people going out. We go to Iowa. All right.
So, was I hear about Iowa?
Well, I was, sitting here by my lonesome, chatting into the ether. And I was asking the folks in the chat, holiday plans, and were folks staying in and avoiding the family? Were they taking trips? And looks like one of Josh is going to go down to Iowa. So that'll be good.
Well, I suppose Iowa's interesting.
I have a lot of scars from Iowa. Yeah, we're just gonna do something small around the house. I think I'm going to my mother-in-law's Christmas Eve. So it'll be good. It's small. We're gonna do one thing we are doing that's a lot of fun. A couple things we do is themed Christmases. So this year it's 80s movies, 80s Christmas movies is our Christmas theme. And then we're gonna do a hot cocoa bar and paint night. So you have the kind of the follow along and paint the canvas. And
hang on, who's doing the hot cocoa hour?
Amy's doing a hot cocoa bar. So
oh, no way. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. And then we're gonna do the paint night. / gift exchange / just low key. It's
yep.
Are we live?
We are.
Yeah, we're live.
I was doing my damnedest to try to carry it in the ether, but since I wasn't doing a presentation, I didn't have a slide deck to reference, so I just kind of I got stuck.
I don't have my pants on yet. Hold on.
You're not on camera. Give us a good look. I mean,
it's Mexico.
Hey, you don't ask, you don't get.
Closed mouth does not get fed. That is very correct.
You do not get curried banana, dried banana.
So I was gonna say to you guys, we were gonna try to do a better job of having our shit together, but I don't think this was a shining example.
Well, we started on time. Admittedly, we started on time, and then you had to carry it for a while. And I turned up, and Evan's underwear turned up.
I like that shirt, Evan. Chris, do not say a damn thing.
Oh yeah, don't make me take it off again. I'll do it. I
Why does
swear.
that thing didn't get burned?
Well,
Maybe
at
they're
least you-
agave plants right there.
That thing's cool, man. I like it.
it is cool, and it does not make you look like Jesus or the Pope.
No.
I'm liking that one. That one is a good one.
Thank you,
It does
sir.
look kind of Hawaiian, though, in this light. You look like you're Hawaiian, not Mexican.
Yeah. If I turn on the lights, the bugs come. So,
Yeah, no, don't do that, because there's bugs there that like come in at eye level.
and they're like this big.
There's some serious bugs.
Stupid freaking idea.
Good to see you guys. You guys look beautiful as always.
You too. Good to see everybody online as well. I appreciate it.
Definitely
Yeah,
good.
we had a
I'm
good
confused.
meeting before
We're gonna.
We had a good meeting before this. I think people are going to like the changes we got coming. It's going to be pretty cool.
You wanna? I mean, go for it. Explain what you want. What you want to. I mean, you were definitely the catalyst for this.
We've got
Mhm.
roles and responsibilities now. So Ryan's going to take over YouTube, getting all that stuff squared away and scheduling the Zoom calls, which is awesome. It's a sort of a pain in the ass, but he's got a knack for it. We've got the next 2 months of shows planned out, or will
Will be, yeah.
soon.
Mhm.
So on the YouTube channel we'll have at least a month out there, so people know what the topic's going to be and can follow along. I'm taking over social media and podcast. So every Monday morning, the podcast of the show will be released. That'll be cool as hell. And then Chris, who's got a knack for running an online store, will be running the online store, creating products along with feedback we get from everybody. We should be much more reliable. We've got a format for the show where I think the first 10, 15 minutes is going to be check-in. The next hour and a half is going to be the topic we're going to talk about, and then we're going to wrap it up at the last 15 minutes. Try to keep it to 2 hours. And I don't know. Did I miss anything, you guys?
No, not out of the gate. I think at some point, we're going to leverage YouTube more, right? So there's a chance for you guys to interact with us more on that medium. There's an opportunity. We're going to do some polling. We might throw some show topics out there to you guys and see what you want to hear. But just a lot more consistency and a lot more interaction. Different connections.
Yeah.
Not just a tweet that goes out, half an hour before the show starts because I didn't get my shit done on time.
Because we all were like, oh shit, we got the toast tonight. Yeah. Actually, to that point, to both of you guys' point, so we're actually going to set the back end of this up more effectively to remind us, hey, get a LinkedIn post out, get the tweets out, get the stuff done. Ryan's already set the next meeting up for the three of us to get together an hour earlier to plan the next 2 months. So it's actually going to be cool. It's one of those interesting things that kind of looking forward to it. It's been fun doing this, and it is fun doing this, and it's nice just hanging out. But I mean, Ryan, you said this a bunch of times, the amount of nuggets that get dropped in here in a positive way. And also, I think the other part for me personally, having just gone through a cycle of getting not banned on LinkedIn, but having a fairly important post taken offline, literally right in the middle of its woohoo time. The ability to basically sit here on a live system and say, if I want to fucking gut you with a spork, I can do it and know that I'm not necessarily being unduly judged.
There you go. Good point.
Yeah. Well, and I'm excited for the swag store because, you know, I think our logo is cool as shit. And so I want it on stuff.
Well, it's
Like,
that.
I need a hat, like a proper hat.
It's that. And so to cue everybody in, there's a bunch of things I really would like to bring to this. There's the stickers, a bunch of different types of stickers. Again, we drop shit ton loads of just fun stuff and quotes and crazy stuff and just things that are cool. We put good graphics together for certain stuff. I mean, even some of the LinkedIn posts that we'll put together, snagging some of those and just having some fun with that and coming up with stickers, limited run stickers, limited time stickers, being able to maybe collaborate with a few other folks out there and bring stuff into a store. And exactly to Ryan's point, actually having the logo on a bunch of different fun things. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. And it's not going to be, just so everybody's aware, it's not going to be a standard choose a plain white mug, slap a sticker on it, charge you $25 for the fucking thing. My desire is going to be to find a good, ethical, kick-ass, fun. If we can play the Made in USA game, we're going to play the Made in USA game, to be perfectly honest, or at least Made in Europe kind of game and stuff like that. And I want it to be good. I want, if you get a t-shirt, I want you to go, holy shit, this is nice. I don't want you to, because I mean, I wear grunt style and I wear 9-line stuff. Some of the stuff's great. Some of it, I'm like, oh.
Well, and because it's the security shit show and it's the three of us, all the proceeds are going to go to charity.
100%.
And we're going to rotate. So it's not like we're just picking, right? There's actually a process that we're going to have in place. We'll pick, you guys will probably get to vote, right? We want to have you involved as well, right? So proceeds from the store will all be donated to charity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this thing started out with, therapy, right? And we get that every week and I love it. It means a lot to me, personally. It helps to keep me sane. Sometimes I don't know if I'm going crazy. And, you guys help to kind of ground that shit. And I think a lot of security people feel the same way. We're working our asses off trying to get, make a difference in the world. And, sometimes nobody's listening, whatever. But then over the last, 72, 70, whatever, this is show number 73 now, we've come to realize that other people benefit from this show. And I think inviting them to come participate on a wider, grander scale, and maybe it'll make a difference, maybe it'll make a bigger difference, in the world. So that's really, I think the point in formalizing it is keeping the original purpose, right? For us to get our, the therapy, keep ourselves sane, but then, let's get more people.
I think I talked to somebody this afternoon. They hit me up yesterday on LinkedIn in a not too good of a state. And had a conversation with them, and then we talked again today for like almost an hour, and it was really, really good. And mentioned the shit show. Get your ass in here every Thursday. We sit around, and we let loose to some degree. And they were like, "Holy shit, that's awesome!" And so again, it's that ability. I mean, this last week has been hellish for all the reasons that are all splattered all over the media. And you need that time to be able to just go, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, and that's where, and it's been a mess. One thing I saw that from this week that I really liked was the amount of backlash against the predatory behavior. Quote that I saw on LinkedIn I really liked. I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember it verbatim, but essentially, why are you selling me a firehouse, new fire trucks, and hoses when I'm in the middle of fighting a fire?
Yeah.
You're trying to sell me a whole new fire station. I'm busy trying to put the house out.
Well, and the problem is the fucking fire station, nobody really knows if the damn thing works.
It's actually a police station that used to be a library, but is really just a porta potty.
Yeah, and there's kind of bits in there that kind of good. One of the toilets works. It's. I mean, this is why I put that. I mean, the post I put out was pretty savage. It was short, but it was pretty fucking savage because it was just, you can see the inboxes and a lot of us in the industry. And I'm like, all right, time to actually stand up. And LinkedIn, 6 hours into LinkedIn, and LinkedIn whacked it. And I retaliated. LinkedIn put it back up again that night. And then I put a LinkedIn post out going, you're going to whack shit? Fucking tell me why. I need to know exactly why. Was it the image? Was it a word I used? Was it the fact I promised to gut somebody with a spork? Tell me what it was. Because I'll either avoid it or I'll accept those consequences. But don't take shit down without giving a decent explanation.
Right. Well, and therein lies tonight's topic. Simple is not easy, right? We confuse this so much, and I saw so many, easy button, and we've talked about easy button so many times. And what people are trying to buy is that convenience. So as I was unpacking this mentally, it dawned on me that one of the challenges we're having is we're fighting an uphill battle of humans' natural instinct to conserve energy, right? It's baked into the DNA. Like, it's that rudimentary of a thing. I want to conserve energy. I want to get the thing accomplished for the least amount of effort possible. I'm willing to disregard certain things if I believe I'm going to conserve this energy, right? So we buy the fancy tool that's supposed to make it really easy, aka conserve energy. And I think that's why it works, because we're still dealing with that disconnect. I had several calls this week where as soon as you get the info or cybersecurity piece, it like separates out. So somehow the computer's physical, with cybersecurity, just I can't grasp it. Right.
Yeah, the easy button.
But yeah, so I'm actually trying to find my notes. And again, I apologize, everybody.
No, you're good. No, keep going, because honestly, go back to that easy button of yours while we're talking about it. And I think that was something that was interesting to see from the vendors. And I think that's why a lot of it got muddied and clouded. Was some of the vendors were out there trying to sell you a new fire station, but the other vendors, somewhat to their credit, were trying to say, hey, some of them were going, hey, I've got an easy way to detect this. I've got a free way to detect this. I've got this. They were coming up with the easy buttons. Now, some of them, there were maybe 2 or 3 of that handful actually knew what the fuck they were doing. But the problem is so many of them were clouded out by everybody else clamoring as well.
There was that going on. There was, and it was also woefully misunderstood. So, for example, a very well-known MDR vendor told a customer that version 1.12 to 1.17 wasn't a problem.
Oh, I saw that. Oh, my, yeah, there was some stupid shit like that.
Really? Yeah. So help me understand this again. So the core flaw in the core structure didn't exist in the previous version.
Yeah.
So there's actually 2 CVEs for that one, right? But only one of them is getting the primary attention. The second one is just as dangerous. So now what we have, and I've been dealing with this all week, is folks going, hey, can I trust that the vendor said they're not affected when I detect this is running, but they say I'm good because it's not that version, right? So what solves this problem? Something simple that is not easy. Having an understanding of your inventory, and not just I have the application, but what components make up that application, what versions, right? It's a fundamental. It goes right back to square one. And fundamentals can be made simple, but they cannot be made easy. It's hard work. It's hard work. The analogy I used in the post that I put on the YouTube was grocery store. So as a consumer, I go in the grocery store, I grab an apple and a steak. That's that was simple. That was easy, right? There's no problem. But that convenience is actually very hard. It's a lot of hard work done by a lot of people so that the end result is me going and pulling an apple off the shelf. all that logistics, the trucking, the farming. That's all this really hard work. It's, again, simple in a lot of cases, but very hard. And somehow we've gotten to a point where we think hard work doesn't have to be put into this, that there's a solution to clap the hands, like the clapper, right? If you're the user of the clapper, hey, that's great. But the person that made it put in a ton of hard work. So I don't know. I'm probably
No, I like it.
going,
I'm actually looking. I put a post out.
I don't know.
No, you're good.
I haven't slept in a day and a half. But yeah, so it's that paradigm shift. So this is where I was going with it. So, okay. So how do we then start to connect back in? Because we know we want to conserve energy, and at the end of the day, every decision we make is a survival decision first, before any of the ethereal, enlightened society stuff gets involved. Your animal brain is making that will this kill me, yes or no decision. How do we start to tap back into that? How do we start to remind people that you have to do the hard work right? And if you do the hard work right, then if you were ready for this type of event, this wasn't a hard thing to do. You were able to go, oh shit, we're affected. We don't have to scramble and panic. We got a plan. Can't patch it. Okay, how do I mitigate it? And then you moved on. But if you didn't, you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Where is it? Is it in the environment? Is it not? And I really do think we still have to go back and do those foundation blocks, or this will happen again. Give it a few weeks. It'll be
absolutely. Well, it's crazy how many people just don't even understand what information security is, right? Because ask them what the fundamentals are.
I know.
And how many don't even know what the fundamentals are?
And for me, it's always been who, what, when, where, why, and the adventurous can ask how.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can buy easy buttons. I use easy buttons all the fucking time.
Sure.
But not in lieu of the fundamentals. Right? Or find an easy button for your fundamentals. Unfortunately, one of the fundamentals that's always overlooked is, and one of the things we're going to talk about in the Security Simplified podcast, is governance. Who's responsible for what? Who's doing what here? What's your job? What do you do? How do I know if you're doing it well? How do I know if you suck at your job? And so those roles and responsibilities, how do you automate that? How do you find the easy button for that? You can't. That's a human thing that somebody has to participate in.
Oh, it's
right?
hard
now,
work.
Well, and that's it too, man. I mean, we all grew up. I love hard work, right? And I think where we're looking for that simplicity is, I don't like wasted work.
Yeah.
I don't like spending a whole bunch of time on something like access control when I don't have an asset inventory. I'll do it because we have to keep things running. When the fuck are we going to get back to what matters? I don't like wasted work, but I like work, man. I mean, fuck, I work all the time. I dig it.
If I had a magic
wand, I think society doesn't like work as much, man. I mean, I come down here to Mexico and you want to see work. Spend some time watching some of these people with what they do in their daily job. They work their asses off and they get value out of it. They feel good about it. What happened to the days when we would go home from a hard day's work and look back and say, you know what, I made a difference today. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us, work hard. A lot of us have really busy schedules, you worked a shitload of hours, but did you move the ball? Did you make a difference?
Yeah.
And making the difference is those fundamental things that they're hard work, man.
Well, so if I had a magic wand, since I tried this once before and it worked, I'm going to try it again. So anybody listening, if you're in the insurance industry, if you are an agent or have a relationship, incentivize people to do asset inventories. Make it a financial incentive. Say if you
know what they're incentivizing, they're forcing people to get MDR.
Yeah, I know. But MDR doesn't. But MDR, to the point I made earlier, was responsible for a falsehood that said you don't have to worry about. Because
Well, isn't it funny, right? Because I think some people don't even know what MDR stands for, right? Managed detection response. How the fuck do I detect something bad going on something that I don't even know exists?
I mean, and
Garbage in, garbage out. I remember a guy, who was it? I'm not going to mention names, but Trustwave, who used to sell this managed SIM solution, right? It was, they were charging like, I think it was a 3-year contract. It was $5 million. Thing didn't work at all. Just didn't work. And so and the customer was really, really upset. I'm like, did anybody ever tell you how this works? Like, what do you mean? We just do this thing, install the agents, and it works. I'm like, no, it's garbage in, garbage out. What are you logging? They're like, what do you mean? What are we logging? Well, how do you think that this thing is triggering? Right, your SIM solution, it's collecting logs from all these servers. If you don't have your log settings correct, you're gonna get shit information. So yeah, it's not going to work. And you're blaming Trustwave. It's you.
well,
That's
and I
going to
like
take a
that
lot of work.
well, and so here it gets interesting as well. I was on a call today, and I basically made the statement that there is what is academically desirable for an outcome, and then that ugly thing called reality. So if it's not actionable, you probably don't want to take on the risk. Go ahead, log everything to the lowest level of detail and then not address it. And I promise whatever cost you end up paying in the end of that lawsuit will be way more than if you got ransomed. So, but because the problem is the other side of that coin, right? We're not approaching this hard work as a practical do what you can do to move the ball. It's all or nothing. It's and of course the vendor is going to tell you to collect everything possible, because the more telemetry, the more they can charge. But if your telemetry isn't correlated and there's no way for you to tell what, and then even if you can tell what, if you can't take action on it, you've literally created a quagmire for yourself.
Remember the days when Snort was just, easy, worked properly, open source, and life was good, and then all hell broke loose, and every single fart in a wind you get charged for these days?
Mm-hmm.
That was before Cisco fucked it up.
Well, and without saying too much, Security Studio might be working on returning us back to a more reasonable model for how we go about getting that kind of work done.
We gotta figure that shit out, because I mean it's ridiculous.
Well, I gotta tune you into something offline, because we got a thingy coming.
It's back to that same thing. It's the pay to play model. It's like, so hang on, you're telling me it's $25 per endpoint. So you're gonna make me choose my favorite endpoints to be able to protect. How about fuck off? It's to me, I mean, this is the reason, without blowing the Dave thing, that's the whole logic with Dave. Put the fucking box in, bring everything. Then that way, at least we know what you have. And after that, we'll figure it out. None of this, like, only bring your favorite children.
Well, and here's the other thing.
Well, and it doesn't work for the way attacks work, right? Because how do we work? We pivot.
Yeah.
I hardly ever have gone directly at the target asset. I don't even know where the fucking target asset is. You pivot, and when people are setting up their systems the way they set up their systems, a lot of times they're not logging those trusted connections. If I'm coming from a system that's already inside and I'm using, what looks like normal traffic, I never see it.
And then, I mean, it's, and part of that goes back to what is what, right? What is flowing across the network, and would you know it if you saw it? And let alone when something legit turns into the boogeyman, right? That's a whole different ball of wax. That's what happened with this, most recent one, right? It's Log4j was absolutely a trusted thing until it wasn't.
How do
you
they
wouldn't have been monitoring for it.
I haven't tuned an IDS system or an IPS system in like a really long time. How long does it take now to do it?
Oh, you don't. The AI does it for you, and it will be perpetually. It will be in a perpetual state of wrongness for twice the price each year.
Yes.
It would take
There's a
6
sticker
months
for you, Chris.
I was just gonna say that.
It would take 6 months for us to tune a sensor.
Yeah.
But now now you let it run. The AI does its little thingy, and then you basically tell it what you think. You play whack-a-mole with false positives.
See, that's fucking bullshit, man. Because
But I mean, that's reality.
the easy button. Here's the thing that was so cool about tuning IDS systems back then was it forced you to investigate every alert. You know what I mean? And so you gain this intimate knowledge of what your network actually does and what it doesn't do, right? Because you were really, really careful. You certainly didn't want to tune out something, just on the surface. You wanted to do a full investigation, because if you did tune it out, then you never get alerted to it again, and it might be a legitimate attack, right? And so that was one of my favorite things to do in a new environment was, where are your IDS sensors? I want to start, no, let's plug in a new one. Let's tune this fucker. So now you don't even get to do that anymore. Now you just plug it in and it's supposed to work.
Well, that's the idea, and then you whack-a-mole it.
What do you mean whack-a-mole?
So I haven't set one up probably a year or two, but I've seen some demos.
Set one up pretty recently, yeah.
Yeah, it's so you basically let it run. It then says, here's all the shit I think is wrong.
Yep.
And then you do suppression. It's a big act of suppression. So instead of properly crafting a rule set,
that was how we tuned it before.
Yeah. So
it's in learn mode. It's in learn mode. So you jack it in, you put it in learn mode. I mean, we're doing the same thing to some degree with Dave, but not really. You put it in, it learns. Now, if it's built properly, emphasis on the word if it's built properly, and if it comes, Ryan, to your point, if it comes pre-populated with an effective data set and has been taught what's right and what's wrong and how to do heuristics and how to understand orchestration effectively, it will say, hey, I see the A, B, and I can correlate C. This is the decision I think you should make. And you can go, love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
That idea sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Or a combination thereof.
So what you did is you actually just added a whole bunch of fucking complexity to what we already had nailed.
Correct. And now you don't know, because let's be honest, that SOC analyst who's 6 days out of the boot camp has been told this tool
looks good. Click.
Because and that's it. It's this. We've got a tooling issue, but we also have a knowledge gap issue, which is why we're doing some of the things we're doing. Squirrel moment. Sorry. That PhD for educators course that I've been working on for the last couple of years. There's a really good possibility it gets turned into a MOOC.
A what?
A MOOC, massive open online course.
Is that like an MPOG or a massive?
Kind of, yeah.
Splendid for education.
Open online course.
Yeah.
MOOC.
Like an
what that means is that it'll go national and then be able to be adopted as curriculum across various schools. So it's going to move out of the pilot program that it's in now and go national.
That's cool.
If that becomes Minnesota accredited, it'd be MAMOOC.
MAMOOC? Ooh, I like it.
That brings me so to, was that Mork and Mindy, wasn't it? Nanu or something like that.
So here's one today, because we were talking about this problem of how do I tackle the elephant? And I said, what I've been coaching everybody on is start with build your process for anything new that comes in. And then get that in place, because now you're only dealing with 1, 2, maybe 3, right? Choke point the inbound, get your process honed for your inventory. What are you collecting? What toolkits are you using? What's your process? And then start to chunk through your historic, but don't try to do it all at once. Don't try to achieve perfection. Just, you guys know, I say it all the time, do something, fucking do something. You can start with cutting off the inbound bleed. And the problem I see a lot of times is folks want to try to take it on as a, we've got to go inventory everything, instead of saying, hey, can we go down to procurement and go, we need to be involved early on. We need to risk assess it before you sign the paperwork. We need to, we need just crazy ideas, right? Before you buy it. But I think that'd help, because we get analysis paralysis.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So let's flip that around. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second, because I enjoy that kind of role sometimes. So I'm sitting in my organization, and I don't have, in my eyes, I don't have enough staff. So I have to look at something that can help me more effectively again, I'll take a little bit of liberty here. I have to look at something that can more effectively help me understand my environment and help me prioritize where my focus should be. So I've got an IR team and whatever else. If I drop a SOAR in, or some kind of orchestration tool in, that basically logs everything, collects everything, and tells me what to look at, that's not a bad thing. If, and there's those ifs, if it's built correctly, trained correctly, sorted out correctly, and the folks that are actually manning it know how to continue to train it more effectively, or understand how to ask questions.
But all that's work.
Yes, it is. Hard work.
It's repetitive. So this goes, okay.
So not only is it hard work, it's boring work. Got it.
Oh yeah, no, fucking shit, it's boring work. I mean, and I think this is the difference. It's not hard work. I think it's not complex work. Maybe it's not complex work.
Right.
And arguably, it's not hard work.
No, it's tedious though.
It's tedious work. It's boring. It's repetitive. It's tedious work. And this goes back to the very, very fundamentals. Back to this, if you don't know what you have, how the fuck are you going to protect it? Well, get a spreadsheet, print it out, go around with a pencil and fucking paper and start counting your assets. Floor by floor, building by building, location by location, whatever it fucking takes. Unless
Well, isn't that shit on the fucking network?
No, hell no, because here's the problem. This is where the problem lies. The network team tells you one number, the help desk team tells you another number, finance tells you what they've issued, HR tells you what people have, and there's 4 different numbers, or 5 sometimes, because the SOAR tells you something. SolarWinds, well, it got breached. It's God only knows what fucking number it is. It's probably in Cyrillic.
Well, I get that, but why don't I just establish the methodology for how we're going to scan the network? Like, I want it done this way.
Yeah.
And then now, and I want it done, I don't know, every 5 minutes.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely 100%.
You mean continuous, so that I can react and respond within a reasonable time frame? What?
Exactly.
Yeah, but again, it takes work. It's tedious work. It ain't fun.
Done by somebody. Here's the other thing.
Figured out, because then when you figured out what the fuck you've got, now you actually got to figure out what the hell's on it.
Well, now that's a different animal. That's a different phase of the assessment.
But you could do that in the same process, right?
Yes.
I mean, if I do some sort of an authenticated, now that there are going to be things that don't get authenticated against, but that's also another issue, right? I mean, those would get red flagged as something that needs to be revisited. But I should be able to pull the software running on these systems with the same scan.
Should.
So
right.
I'll go one further. If done correctly, you can actually figure out what the damn thing's made of.
Yeah, right there.
Not just what's on it, but what's in it.
What's in it? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've got to get to that if we want to get a handle on this.
Well, this isn't rocket science. It's not something that we haven't read in guidance and standards and God knows how many frameworks.
Don't get me started.
You know,
have you seen what they do with
I know.
CMMC?
I know, man. Don't get me started either. But it's You know, I mean, it's CIS 1 and 2, right? Hardware, software. There you go. You know, so find things to do things.
So
But
while
what I usually hear from people is, if you actually know anybody who's actually doing this, I'm like, no, I don't.
Right.
But that doesn't give you a fucking excuse.
I remember years ago. I remember we're going back.
What kind of leader asks that fucking question? I hate that. What kind of leader asks, well, is anybody else doing it? No, lead.
Right.
Yeah, I remember years ago, and we're going back early days of OWL, so 2011, 2012. I was doing the interface, the F2F events with really good friend Joe Asher, and he was getting them off the ground, and we were doing all those. And I remember so many of the booths were focusing on, what do you have in your environment? They literally would go out there, they would scan, and they would look at the hardware. They'd pull all this intel off, and they give you some pretty decent information. So I mean, we've had the capability for 10, 12 years, but we lost it. It's
Yes, but here's the other dilemma. The business. So I implement new CRM. The business puts me up on the shoulders, walks me around the room, says, oh my God, we now have this new CRM. I do an asset inventory. The business today majorly does not respect the value of that or the importance of it. So no one gets recognition or accolade, which then automatically deprioritizes it. I want asset inventory to be the thing that gets you the freaking trophy. Okay, if we're going to start giving people, glass trophies that you bought your way into, well, we'll make one. We'll do a you can buy your way in, but you have to give us a redacted copy of an actual asset inventory.
You're right.
But no, seriously, think about that though. We don't incentivize, because I've been banging my head on this. Like, why not the fundamentals? And then as I'm thinking about, okay, the business, because we all talk about that part, right? How we've got to do a better job meeting the business where they are, showing value. The fundamentals are very hard right now to explain the immediate business value to the business people. Now, I think we have a chance with this Log4j thing. I think we've got an opportunity here to strike when the iron's hot and say, hey, next time this happens, we can deal with this in a couple of hours if we've got a good inventory. You don't like it because you like it.
I do and I don't. Here's the challenge with that one. This is where we start getting into physical to virtual stuff, P2V stones. So much of the inventory is still physical, whereas Log4j, I would argue, is much more, we're up a couple of layers. We've abstracted Log4j. We've abstracted a few layers. That's up a few layers.
It is, but it's still an asset on the network.
Yeah, no, I won't disagree.
So if I use the definition of asset on network, every class library is in scope.
Fuck. I mean, okay.
But as far as Log4j changing anything, most executives and CEOs don't give two shits still.
True.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want something to actually change, that's got to change. Because, and here's the thing that ticks me off, as part of due care, right? That's the one thing that all CEOs, all CFOs, all whatever O's, boards are really, really, concerned about is due care, due diligence. Well, isn't part of your due care managing assets, your corporate assets? That's the value of your company, right? You got data assets. And today, across the entire industry, about 80% of a company's value is tied up in intangible assets.
Yep.
Intangible, things you cannot touch. Yet, we accept that you don't have an inventory of these things, your company's value, 80% of your company's value, and you don't even know what the fuck it is.
All right.
And until somebody starts to hold them accountable for this, I don't expect it to change.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate again for a minute, because it is, and I like doing it, because I've run into this before. And the argument I've run into, and I've managed to circumvent it, but I want to hear from you guys, is, well, hang on, so you're going to tie up X number of my resources for the next Y amount of time to go and chase down a bunch of hardware and a bunch of assets that aren't worth but half of 1% of my actual asset value? Why would I do that?
No, but here's why you do it, because 80% of your asset value is running on that 1% of your asset
Yep.
value.
Right.
So I cannot get to your data until I understand your hardware and software.
Okay, so that's how I looked at it as well. Now, that's a much tougher conversation, because now the problem is, back to Ryan's thing, now we've gone from, I can count one computer, one monitor, one pair of headphones, and one, Marantz DAC. What's harder to try to tell people is, on this one computer, I have 25 programs, 5 of these, and a partridge in a pear tree. And trying to teach them that that is a tangible asset, that's hard. They can't touch it. This goes right back to Ryan. Analog humans, digital motherfucking world. I can't touch it. It doesn't exist.
It's a thing. It's a
Well,
thing.
that's why our legal system is light years behind this.
Yep.
We've tried the target breach, right? Which is the one that I always go back to because that still fucking is so raw. They were sued, right? In that lawsuit that it's called a derivative action. It's basically the shareholders filing suit against the board of directors. And at core to the shareholders lawsuit was the board of directors did not manage the assets of Target Corporation properly. And it didn't go forward, right? It didn't even go to court.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Because again, that whole concept of what's an asset. I mean, you summed it up. A company's value is not necessarily in its tangible assets, but unfortunately, the gateway to get to those intangibles is through the tangible shit. And unfortunately, so much of that now isn't even on premise.
Well, and in conversations with these lawyers, trying to explain to them this very point, completely missed it. They missed the point, 100%. If once they start to grasp the fact that 80% of a company's value is intangible assets, then I think they'll approach it differently.
Do you think?
But I think so, because then they'll start losing lawsuits. Boards of directors will be held accountable personally for breaches.
Well, and I agree that we're heading that way. The other thing, there has been some court precedent, and I'm waiting for the next case. You didn't protect it like a trade secret, therefore it's not a trade secret.
Can we go off to Kentucky Fried Chicken and Coke?
But that's a trade secret. That's different.
No. That trade secret was an intangible asset on a poorly managed device that was then stolen by a competitive company. They hacked them and stole it, and the judge ruled.
But it's a different liability. That's a criminal matter. I think you're right. That also needs to go there. But in terms of like a data breach, right? We have a collective loss. Somebody pays for that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it just that didn't happen. And so who gets held accountable for that loss? Right? To the shareholders. And here's what, and I'll tell you it came out this week, right? I don't know if you read, there was a kind of a hoopla, in Congress this week about Congress people trading stocks.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't gotten deep in the detail, but I heard it on the surface.
So here's a reason why you won't see a law anytime soon about this, is because they own these companies.
Right.
Right. And this isn't some kind of conspiracy theory.
No, it's
I own the company, so I don't want the company to be held liable for a data breach. And that leads to, what we're going to talk about on January 13th, when it's shit or get off the pot. Because in so many different places in this industry, we say we care, we say we want a good thing, we play the game, but at the end of the day, you're not doing it. So fuck you. You're not playing the game. I don't know what game you're playing, but you ain't playing this one. Because if you were, you'd do the hard work. Who wouldn't? I mean, think of it like in sports, right? If you ever played sports, let's say take football, for instance, or take rugby, or take anything. How much hard fucking work do you put into practice the same fucking thing over and over and over again, the fundamentals over and over and over again. It gets drilled into you, man. I mean, so when you get out there and perform, it comes natural. The fundamentals aren't even that much work, but you put in all that hard work. Here, what do? Nothing. Here you go. Here's the console.
So here's something neat I just stumbled across that I didn't know this existed. I bet you consumers don't know this exists.
Oh, the UL verified security rating? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but here's the question. How well rolled out is it? Because I'm not even sure if I've seen a single one of those freaking kite. You putting that in the shit show?
Oh yeah, I'll put the link in the deal. Yep.
Well, here's one that I participate in. But it's, I don't know, it's kind of okay. This one, along the same lines of IoT.
Yep.
Yeah, you've seen me do some shit there. I think their name is on that list somewhere,
I totally forgot.
right?
I did. Well, we're doing so much stuff. It's good.
So these guys are certifying products, right? IoT products that they meet certain security requirements. They meet their own, they meet this standard. The problem with this one, being IOXT certified is the certification program is run by IoT vendors. So what do you expect from that?
Well, I mean, right, but that's where I look at UL, right?
UL's meant to be relatively, I wouldn't say independent because I don't know enough, but are they?
They're independent enough. Yeah, I mean, they're the standard for, you're not buying a fucking electrical product in this country and putting it in your house that doesn't have that certification. It's considered too big of a threat to your safety. You'll find a UL sticker on any product you've got in your house that plugs in.
Guaranteed. Yeah, no, I've seen them. Yeah.
The insurance company actually pushed that forward.
Yeah, there we go. And
right.
I hate to say it, and consumers. How the fuck do we educate consumers and go, hey, you're in Best Buy, you're looking at a row of stuff, go find the ones that have the UL. Everything else, tell them to fuck off.
Well, part of that is
go find something without our warning sticker on it.
There we go.
Well, and that's,
I put that. Oh,
we have to do that. Like I've advocated for this for quite some time. We already have consumer safety standards. This shit's now at a point where it can harm. We need to just
I put it on some fridges.
Close that gap.
I went Best Buy. I actually went around Best Buy a while ago, not that long ago, with some of those stickers. They went on fridges, televisions, and a few other things.
Nice.
There you go.
Our Best Buys are being robbed by gangs, and so now all the police are camping out at the stores.
You know what we need to do is to make that sticker. That sticker needs to be. We'll put it up on the for sale website. But what I want to do is go into Best Buy and somehow or other automatically upload the website so that every single one of those damn fridges just redirects its default homepage to that damn website that has the sticker on it. That's what we need to do. That's what we need.
They might get a little bit out of shape about that.
Yeah, maybe they'll listen.
Well, I mean, you should come visit me because I literally live less than 10 minutes away from their headquarters.
I think we might know some. Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, we'll figure it out. Yeah, we just go put a Best Buy.
They got a really big parking lot, good Wi-Fi coverage.
They're their governance.
Blended.
Used to work at Security Studio, or used to work at FR Secure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
So yeah, just to kind of recap a little bit, this is hard work, but it's.
Well, how about this, man? How many new penetration testers or people that want to become penetration testers want to jump right into a CTFs, want to jump right into, Kali Linux and whatever else without ever understanding the fundamentals of how TCP/IP works, about the fundamentals about how a network works, about the fundamentals about how sockets work, how applications work. It's like I'm not against CTFs. Do it, but don't do that in lieu of understanding the basics and the fundamentals. How did you get here? Yeah, you compromised. You put that box. How did you do it?
Right. What led to the compromise?
So I'm seeing a lot of penetration testers too are doing a lot of shoddy work out there who are clicking tools.
Yep. Well, with Autosploit, it's even worse. They're not even clicking anything. Like an Autosploit, man, you just set it and go. But you're right. Well, and that's something we've advocated for, and that's something that we're personally addressing on several fronts. Is getting those basic things. I was just on a panel the other day, or a committee call or whatever the hell it was, but I was talking to the school folks, and I said, as a business leader, I need you guys to teach troubleshooting, whether it's technical or not technical. Like, this is a very valuable skill, like just deconstructing a problem.
And do it without
Totally
Google.
need you to teach that.
And do it without Google.
I mean, that's if you're a badass, okay? I just want you to be able to deconstruct.
I get paid for this. People pay me good money. People trust me. People think I'm credible. Why wouldn't I want to understand intimately how this shit works?
Right.
And if I don't, I don't. But I can't tell you how valuable it was in the early days to do a lot of the work that we did without Google, because I had to learn how this actually works.
Made you actually take the time. Yeah, agreed.
Well, they don't teach it. Intro to computers, they don't. It's not an A+ class. And if they do cover the design, it's the first 2 pages, and then they're moving on.
I have another son. So one penetration tester at FR Secure. Another son now wants to get into information security, which is cool, right? And so he's like, hey, he sent me a text. Hey, I learned what it takes to be a great security person. I'm like, what is it? And he's like, you got to learn how to use Google really well. I'm like, fucking idiot. No, stop it. Get away from Google. Capture some damn packets. Read what the fucking things.
Google comes in handy for some stuff. Let's not underestimate the fact that all 3 of us have made money before simply because our search criteria was better than somebody else's.
No, I use Google, but not in absence of the fundamentals.
Correct. Well, and just like, you guys share this trait. If I want to know something about something, I don't just stop at the surface. I'm like, okay, so how does that work? Oh, it works like this. Well, how's that work? Well, how's that work? Well, how's that work? And I keep pulling that thread of yarn until I've unwound it, right? It's like, I have to know, but I don't think a lot of people are like that. I think a lot of people, they get, how's the sun work? It's hot. Oh, okay. Right. And I'm over here like, but why is it hot? And it's not always the same hot. So something must be happening there. What'd you say?
I get it. A fuckload of helium, some kind of fusion thing or something or other.
But yeah,
here's my fucking thing with the sun. And this is always flabbergasted me. Damn thing's been hot for 5 billion years, and the stupid thing is going to be hot for another 5 billion years. Given the surface area, and all that is the part that still astounds the shit out of me. It's one of those, like, it's almost, you cannot necessarily comprehend the amount of energy, size, and scale that it takes to keep something going for that long. It's freaking amazing. Sorry, squirrel moment totally for a second.
But therein lies, I think, the differentiator between the way we think and the way a lot of other people think. There's that curiosity, there's that passion, there's that desire to work the problem.
No, I'm going to go one step back, which is why I keep hammering this to everybody. Ask another question. I can't teach you curiosity. I can't teach you to be a hacker. I can't teach you, but what I can ask you to do is ask one more question.
Well, I'm the guy that I can't function without a solid footing.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, I have to have the truth. I don't, that's why the whole COVID thing threw me for a loop. That's why the whole, Black Lives Matter thing threw me for a loop, trying to figure out the data on how this actually all works, because I stand here and like say anything with any factual anything. I'm just another guy with an opinion, and which is fine. Opinions are good, but when I do the work that I do, I need a solid foundation.
Yeah.
I've been in enough board meetings to get asked those really tough questions, and I know how more important it is to go in there with facts versus my opinion.
Right.
They'll rip me. They have ripped me a new ass for going in with opinions. When I go in with facts, I'm like, I can defend this until the cows come home, because it's factual. And I think when I understand the fundamentals, so I've always been a network guy. I understand how networks work. Fundamentally, it's just fundamental, right? So when I look at network traffic and you're telling me something, fuck, no, that's not it. Or yeah, that is it. You know what I mean? It's those foundational fundamentals. And it took a lot of work. It took a lot of reading. It took a lot of like trial and error. It took a lot of packet captures, man. I mean, it took a lot, because if you're also going to be like an expert in it, you almost need to memorize it. Just like when I'm, playing football, I get out in the field, it's muscle memory. I'm not thinking about how to tackle. I know how to tackle. And so it's the same thing, man. You do this over and over and over again. That's why, people talk, Ryan, you and I did a network series on Security Simplified, right? And we talked about the OSI model. Fuck, how many times have I fucking said the OSI model? I mean, I could rip that shit off, whatever. But it's the fundamentals. And we need more people who understand the fundamentals. You call yourself, I wrote, my own blog post, last week. I only do them like once every couple of weeks. And I wrote about, don't call yourself an expert if you don't understand and apply and regularly practice the fundamentals. You can't. You can click buttons. I understand. That's great. You can write reports. I understand. That's great. You can even understand some of the things that are in your report. I get that. That's great. But if you want to take it to that next level, if you truly want to be an expert and you truly want to make an impact in this industry, you understand the fucking fundamentals and you got to practice them. And it's work. If you don't want to put in the work, then fucking put your paycheck back. You don't deserve it. Sorry. I get paid.
Well, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say very short. I'm just to add on to that. I was talking to a bunch of students earlier this week, and I said to them, I said, look, I need you to go down to ARC, to Goodwill and somewhere and buy a computer. Spend $10, maybe 15 at a push. Take it to pieces. Take it completely to pieces. Work out what every single freaking piece does and why it does what it does. Work it out from a book, work it out from Google, retain it, understand it. I said, because I need to know that you know this stuff. I need to know that when I ask you to go basically defend something, you know what the hell you're doing. You know why. You know what memory is. You know how it works. You know exactly what blocking and tackling is. I said, that's the fundamentals. That's the basics. And I think that's one of those things. Again, I'm just reading some of the comments in here that, Logan was saying, Daniel was saying that basically recent college graduates, they almost pushed and encouraged Googling over learning. And I got no problem with it. Again, back to that. I don't care if you want to Google shit, but then don't take the time to understand it.
Yeah, I don't like the reason why I Google as well, especially for learners, is, I learned a lot from, like you said, taking things apart, putting things back together again. And then also the pressure that comes with, I don't fucking get this. And, we've been in places before where, you've been on site, something's happened and you don't understand it at all. And I just took down an entire aerospace company and fuck, I don't know how to put this fucking radar array back together again, and I don't have fucking Google. I call the
Yep.
vendor. They don't know what the fuck is going on. Okay, let's click the button. Oh shit, wrong button.
Yeah.
You never, ever, ever forget that. That's like part of your soul now. And so now, you know, you approach problems totally this whole thinking, this critical problem solving skills that we have from not having Google or not having somebody tell us the answer. That we undersell that. We undersell the value in critical thinking.
I completely agree with that. I mean, to that point, if we go one level lower, what are we really talking about? We're talking about managing the state of electrons. That's what's really happening. If we keep peeling the onion all the way down to the base,
Oh yeah.
we're managing the state of an electron in motion.
Well, that's the thing. I love
You've done
about
breadboards.
That's what I love about
Why is that
computers,
not
too.
intro to computing? Is a fucking breadboard with a basic in-out logic switch, make the light bulb light up.
I thought okay, so I did when I was at school, the first 2 years we just did science, and then for those of us that were, you know, actually put our underpants on our head in the morning and understood a few things, they let us split it out. So we had agricultural science, biology, chemistry, electronics, and physics. I took 4 of those, and electronics was an entirely separate subject. I mean, I remember going through fucking transistors and resistors, learning the color codes on resistors and stupid shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was our intro into all of this stuff, and that was breadboards and all sorts of other crazy things. My understanding is some of that's still there, but I don't know how much.
But it's still, it gave you a base understanding of the component under the component.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh god, yeah, because I mean, flipping memory
sequence.
bits.
All an algorithm is a digitized version of a breadboard.
Right.
That's it. I mean, we used to build the algorithm out of transistors, resistors, capacitors, logic circuits. You know, and then we finally got to ICs. Ooh.
Well, and this is one of the things I love about computers more than humans is they only do what you tell them to do. It's binary. It's so fucking easy to, you know, if you can break it down.
No.
You're not going to get into quantum shit with me.
No, I'm not getting into quantum shit. Ha!
I'm going to talk about qubits and fucking shit like that.
Nope. I'm going to talk about cosmic rays.
Okay.
Okay.
My computer works fine without cosmic rays.
What was that?
I said my computer okay without cosmic rays. It's an Apple.
No, it doesn't work fine with cosmic rays. And we actually demonstrated that. We've actually realized that when we put computers in space, we're fucked because it flips bits. There's actual bit flipping capabilities of cosmic rays if they hit the wrong place at the wrong time and everything else. There's actually a whole bunch of documented cases. It's actually fucking amazing stuff.
On Earth or in space?
On Earth, as in on Earth. On the planet, there's actually a bunch of cases. There's a couple of like Norwegian voting systems. There's a whole bunch of cases where it's actually documented. And the closer you actually get up to the ionosphere, where obviously that stuff is being filtered out, not filtered out, all this kind of good stuff, it's actually more drastic. Now, when you get into space, part of the reason they're using older tech in space is because the older stuff is more effectively shielded against it. But they still have to do resets on a regular basis because the amount of bits that get flipped in memory is fucking amazing. Totally awesome stuff.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's cool.
Oh, go do the research. It's totally awesome stuff. It's freaky.
Let me Google that.
You can start with Google and then go, and you can actually make. There's actually a chemical experiment you can do with a type of water. It's almost like a heavy water experiment, but you don't make bombs out of it. That will actually trace cosmic rays as they go through them. It's totally cool stuff.
I think I'm going to get in trouble if I start fucking around with heavy water.
Yeah, let's leave the heavy water to the that'll get you on another list.
Yeah, it's a fun list.
I mean, don't get me wrong, for a quick trip to Home
After I
Depot,
move down here permanently, I'm on it.
I
There we
mean,
go, yeah.
75 bucks in a garage and you can get after it.
Totally. Mexico becomes the next nuclear superpower.
Get a little car battery, copper rod.
Evan's
takes,
like,
man.
I figured this shit out in the garage.
Uh-huh. Oh, I've seen some stuff that, before YouTube got really good at pulling some of that.
Yeah.
There were some interesting projects people had. I was like, oh.
I love the people down here dearly, man. Let's put them on the map. Let's do.
I
like
got
it.
no problem. I would giggle if we turned Mexico into a nuclear superpower. It would freak the US out. It would be fucking amazing to do.
Chris can go to Mexico. He just can't land in the helicopter. That way he's in sovereign US airspace and not actually in Mexico.
I can smuggle Chris in. I mean, fuck, they smuggle people the other way. Easy. I can smuggle somebody.
I know exactly how I'm going to do it. I already know how I'm going to do it.
As long as the helo doesn't land.
Forget, I dive, and I'm not bad at it either, if I do say so myself.
I already told you what happens if the U.S. falls into civil war. I'll run comms from down here.
Yeah, that'd be fun as all hell.
I like it.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link to bit flipping. It's fantastic stuff.
Did you see they confirmed? So time crystals now validated.
Yeah. There's some really.
That shit twists my mind too much, man. I don't even want to fucking learn it.
I just want them to release the physics they've been sitting on for 70 years. That'd be great.
That's the day you can put me out to pasture. I'm just no longer useful.
What?
When you start fucking talking about that shit, man, I don't think I have it in me to learn a whole nother fucking thing.
Yeah, you do. Don't ever say that.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
People, you of all people have an amazing capacity to learn new stuff.
But do I have the motivation?
Well, that's a different.
Oh, hell
that's
yeah.
a whole different animal.
Yeah, you have the motivation to learn all sorts of new things.
Oh, I went snorkeling yesterday.
Nice.
Went down to a place called Yalapa. You ever heard of Yalapa?
Nope. Don't think so.
It's amazing, man. I don't get it. It's like heaven.
That's
it's
what
amazing.
I'm looking for.
Hey Ryan, you coming down in April? I mean February?
Well, yeah, we talked about that, I thought.
You were talking about speaking fees or some shit. How'd that materialize?
The paperwork's in place, but I don't know. I gotta follow up with him on that.
Yeah. You want me to get you paid? I get you paid.
He has
I
money.
know people.
Evan, I put the link in the there's a YouTube link in there. You will probably enjoy this one. It'll definitely send you off on some fun rabbit holes.
Oh man, I'm gonna be up all night.
For everybody listening.
It's only a minute and seconds. It's cool. I can do that. So yeah, Ryan, we can talk about that offline too, but I want to see you down here in February. I want to hang out.
I totally spaced that part of the conversation, following up with him to say, hey, let's flip that to that. So I know it's in the new stuff going forward, but yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, guys, I'm
like the CEO.
I know.
El Jefe, El Patron.
You fading, Ryan? You fading?
I'm on like hour 30 something, so I'm gonna
get some bloody rest.
We're gonna cut this short.
I'm gonna rack it out tonight. We're gonna cut this one a little short. We're gonna get our shit together. Very excited about this.
I am too, man.
Lots of good stuff. 2022 is just gonna be a banner year, I think, all around. Even though it's gonna be a little wacky, I still think it's gonna be really good. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Closing thoughts, gentlemen?
I don't know, man. I think every day we should go to bed. I mean, I've just always had this theory that every day I should go to bed tired. And I should go to bed tired knowing that I provided value to somebody. Now, that somebody may not always be professional, might not always be, it might be my daughter, it might be my son. But did I provide value to somebody today? Did I make the world a little better? And so sometimes that's easier, sometimes it's harder. Sometimes I'm up till God knows, whatever, working. The work is important because nobody else is doing it. So if somebody else was already doing this work, then I wouldn't have to do it.
Right.
The fact of the matter is nobody else has done it. Nobody else is doing it. So rather than sit here and bitch about it, I plan on doing it myself. And so I do. I have a wonderful, amazing team who, backs me up, who, enriches my life. So I think everybody should kind of take that sort of same mentality. If you see something that needs to be done and nobody is doing it, then do it yourself. Do it. You know what the fundamentals are, right? Do you have an asset inventory? No. Is it magically going to happen for you? Probably. So either do it, get somebody else to do it if you can delegate it, and go to bed every night tired, knowing you did good work. That's my advice.
I think it's. I'll go back to the two things that I posted. One of them up on here, which is, I literally want people just to ask more questions. I really do. It's no more complex than that, and some of it is inside our own industry, and it comes down to where is it? I don't know. We'll go find it. Why is it there? I don't know. Go work it out. And some of it's just life in general. Why does something work? Well, because of this. Well, why does that work? What is happening? And yes, Ryan, exactly to your point, it all comes down to, it comes down to electrons, and then we get down into the really, really small, stupid shit beneath that. But that's an entirely. Yeah. But I think it's fundamentally, it's a thirst for knowledge. And if you don't have that drive, then at the very least, learn how to ask another question. And shut the fuck up and listen when somebody's giving you an answer. The other part of this is you have a ratio. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in that ratio. Nothing more complex than that. And on that note, Ryan, go get some serious rest, please. Like, seriously.
I should be better by tomorrow, I hope. It should be good.
Well, if
Please.
you're not, take the day off.
For Shiesel, we'll figure it out. Gentlemen, you're awesome. I will see you the holiday week. If you guys need anything, you know the drill.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, because you have meetings with me, and if you show up like this.
What? I mean,
I'm
you
close to you are. I can
all
taste
tired?
No, I'm not going to fire you. I'll never fire
I
you.
said tired.
Oh, I thought you said fired. Yeah, no, no, but just like you hold me accountable, man, I'm going to hold you accountable.
For sure.
So-
And yeah, so no worries.
Don't want to see you in a meeting without rest.
I will make it work. You guys are
Love you
awesome.
guys.
Love you both.
Hey,